Welcome back, guys. It's Garrett Prettyman here. I coach guys who are in a place of pain in the relationship or not having the things they want, and I coach them how to be masculine, confident men who are able to live life on their terms and create what they want. You're about to watch a recording I did with men's coach Mark Dredska. We just were having a conversation over Zoom about how a man thinks, how he talks, and how he behaves when he's able to live happy right to his last day. So let's get right into it and watch that recording. Right around Christmas time, I met a man, and he was friends with a friend of mine. I went over there to have dinner with him because supposedly he makes a banging steak. So I'm there to enjoy dinner with him. He's older, he was in his 60s. And we found a lot of commonalities. Like we had ran similar trucks in doing work. Like we talked about 7.3 diesels for a long time and how Western snow plows have far outlasted the Myers ones we bought. And he's like, you know what? I got this bottle of wine. We should open it up tonight. And he brought up this bottle of wine and he was like, this vineyard no longer makes this. He goes, this is the last one. And I was like, wow, this is kind of a special occasion. You sure you want to just crack it open right now? And he's like, well, it's been sitting on the shelf long enough. I say we enjoy it. So we drank wine. We talked about, he had been a fireman most of his life. We talked about hard work and mountains. He talked to me about how he loves the Idaho mountains, which is where my home is. Talked about how he wanted to put his RV over there this summer, just to start exploring those hills on a side by side, which is something I've been doing. So we had a lot of fun with that. He told me how now that he's retired, he wants to go down to Mexico in the winter, not be here when it's cold. And so we enjoyed that bottle of wine, went about our way. And then I was notified the other week that he did go down to Mexico and he died in his sleep. His body just got brought back to the US a couple days ago. I think his funeral's like this week. I had no idea when I was sitting there with that man. And this was a man that when we shook hands, he held on for that little second longer than most guys do. And he looked you in the eye and then he let go. He had that kind of energy about him. And it was cool to know, like, little did I know at that moment that I was enjoying his last glass of wine with him. I was enjoying his last steak dinner he would make. We sat there and talked about the future like we had 30 more years to go. Little did he know this was his last few moments to have. And I'm bringing the story up, Mark, because just think of that energy of a man who's dying well, like right up to the end. He's still talking about his mission. He's still talking about what he's going to be doing this summer that he's excited about. His wife walked in the door and he was like, how are you doing, honey? I'm excited that you got home tonight. Come over here. I made some steak tonight. Like, how does that impact you when I talk about that kind of man living like that?
Two things happen, and the thing that stands out is the phrase "dying well." And I think there's something in either Buddhism or the samurai culture where they talk about an honorable death and things like that. And dying well is a concept that, for some reason, triggered me in a good way, but
Mm,
it opened my eyes. It's like, well, fuck, we're going to die, so we may as well do that well as well. Make the decision to do that.
mhm.
And the other side of that, so there's an excitement there, but then the other side of that is, well, am I doing that? Am I actually living as if the end is nigh? If the end is coming, at some point this is going to all cease to be. Am I living up to my own idea of what I want my life to be? There's it's an alarm call, a wake up call, isn't it? It brings you
Yeah.
back down to earth, and you start realizing, well, shit, I got to get going. I've got to start doing something, which then goes down the trap of that sense of urgency and that nervous energy that some people have around this topic. But we have to be connected to death in the end. We have to be understanding that this is only part of our journey, whatever happens, right? Whatever our problems are now, they don't actually mean anything. They're going to end. The problem will end eventually, right?
Mhm.
So it puts it into perspective, I think. How did you come away with it?
You know,
Was it a positive or a negative experience?
it was a positive experience in the sense of it was like we did savor that bottle of wine. And the moment I felt a small amount of shame. Like this was expensive a bottle of wine that had been saved on the shelf for something special, and you couldn't even get another one because the vineyard had discontinued it. And I was like, who am I to be drinking this right now? I was like, save it for somebody's wedding or something. He's like, no, this is a good time. Let's drink it now. So it was that idea of like, enjoy now. What are we going to create tonight? Like right now, we're making the steak dinner and it might be our last. How would we show up to that meal?
Yeah.
And like he did show up like that, not realizing it. But like, how many times have we shown up to a dinner and we acted like we got 400 more? So did we really act as a man who this might be the last meal he gets to enjoy? This might be the last bottle of wine I get to open. This might be my last trip to Mexico. Not to have urgency, but to really savor and enjoy each moment instead of being so angular and critical. I'm sure there's 400 things he could have been frustrated about that night, but he really just relaxed in that moment. Both of us oblivious that was his last dinner.
And isn't that the key to that? Sounds like it's gratitude.
Hmm.
It's a gratitude and it's an appreciation of the moment that you're in. We talk about working through guys and bringing them back to the present moment because anxiety is all about the future that hasn't happened and all that. There's a balance to be struck, which is to be in the present moment, but also look forward to the future whilst letting go of the past. But you do have to enjoy the moment that you're in, knowing that full well you have no control over what happens in the next, or if you get a next. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't remember where I read it or even if I came up with it, but the idea that waking up in a bad mood. I mean, have you ever done that? You just wake up and you're in a shit mood from the moment you get out of bed.
Hands down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I used to too, until I realized, hang on, there's going to be one occasion where I don't wake up. So in itself, the very fact that I've woken up is an incredible blessing. And the more I can remind myself of that, the more pleasure I get in the fact that I have woken up. Yeah, I'm tired. I feel sick. I'm unwell. I'm exhausted. I don't want to do what I have to do. But at least I woke up. And then all of a sudden I remember, hang on, it's going to be a good day. I get to decide if this is a good day or a bad day, or if things are going well or if things are going badly. So gratitude is a real key ingredient to that. And that the way you talk about the bottle as well, and how you had this sense of, oh, you got to save it for a special occasion. Well, so many people are like that, whether it's with money or a bottle of wine or other alcohol or some special thing that they're saving for that special occasion. And then they die before they get a chance to use it or
Mm.
enjoy it. Yeah, there's something to be said for savoring and, appreciating something and, you know, waiting for the perfect time, but you got to understand that you get to create the perfect time. He saw the opportunity. Just two guys having a conversation over a nice meal. Let's enjoy this wine. What better opportunity?
And in honor and respect of his life well lived, in reflection of it, like we brought up, it's that sense of enjoying the moment and then talking about the next thing he's excited about. It didn't matter if he died that night or died the next day, he was taking strides towards that next thing. Because that's some people are like, let's just enjoy all the wine tonight. Tomorrow we die. There is no tomorrow. Just, let's enjoy it all tonight. But that wasn't what he was like. Like he's a man who's going somewhere and enjoying it along the way. That's a momentum that's powerful. That's a way of being that it draws people into that. And that's what we talk about with guys when we're working on, like, what's my purpose? What's my mission? Why am I here? We want to be men that lay on our deathbed someday with a smile on our face because we're like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah. Yep. And David Data talks about that all the time. Stare death in the face, but understand that you will die. Face your fears. And that doesn't mean doing things that you're afraid to do necessarily, but it's about making peace with the fact that at some point you are going to end. You're going to cease to be. And
Mhm.
for me, one of the key moments was when I realized that, you know what, in 2 generations, no one's going to know my fucking name.
Yeah.
I don't know my great 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 grandfather's name. I don't
Mhm.
know anything about him. I know my great great grandfather's name, but I don't know anything more. I only know his name because I've got it. That's it. So whatever is bothering you right now and seems so big and so insurmountable that it's distracting you from enjoying yourself and having a good life, it's utterly pointless. It
Mhm.
means nothing.
When there's something we're committing to because we're afraid if we don't, people might think something,
Mm.
that's not us living large. Because, like you're saying, 3 generations from now, and nobody even knows your name, will the fact that they cared matter?
No.
No. Why are we letting it matter now?
Yeah. And this guy you're talking about, He seems to ride that fine line between calm presence and forward momentum,
Hmm.
because the anxious energy that most guys come with, like nice guys particularly, they feel like they're running against the wall, right? Scrambling like little mice, they're tiny little mouse feet. Whereas he seems like an elephant or something, just slowly pushing in a particular direction. Doesn't matter what's in front of him, he's still headed in that direction. And it's that slow and steady sense of progress that comes with it. Do you know what I mean? There's no frantic, nervous energy whatsoever. It's just this calm movement towards something. It's not
Yeah.
looking back. It's not getting stuck and held back by all the weight of guilt and, thinking about what was and what should have been or anything like that. It's about having a firm grasp of where you're headed, but enjoying every step of the way. The grazing principle, beyond success and failure. It's a perfect example.
This man didn't end up like this by accident. It's not that it was dumb luck that his life worked out that way. He told me why he was that way. A few years prior, he's also a scuba diver. Something went wrong during a scuba diving dive, and he drowned. He was
Oh,
brought
wow.
to the surface and brought back to life. So he had a second shot. And he was keenly aware that the very breath he took may well have never happened if somebody hadn't done mouth to mouth with him and pumped his
Yeah.
chest. And so that's what guys are going through in the pain in relationship, the pain of divorce, whatever it is that woke you up to the fact that, wow, everything is fleeting, actually. We want to be men that are like him, that when he walked in the room, he was like, what am I here to enjoy right now? I'm
Yeah.
still here.
That's a really key thing. What am I here to enjoy right now?
Hmm.
Because, if you've got kids, it's very easy to get frustrated. It's very easy to get pissed off because you stood on Lego for the 14th time and it hurts. Yeah. But then if you can remind yourself that, oh, hang on, in about 5 years, there ain't going to be more Lego. There's not going to be toys around. It's going to be a completely different environment. And then that in 5 years' time, you'll be missing when they were young. And you'll be
Oh,
looking back going, oh, I wish I spent more time with them. I missed the Lego. I missed the mess. I missed the toys. Appreciate what you've got in the moment that you're in.
yeah. And maybe that's a closing thought to sit on is right now we're creating tomorrow's memories. What do you want to have for a memory? Hey, brother, if you're wanting to reach out and have a conversation with me or Mark, you can go to garrettprettymancoaching.com and fill out my application form for a consult where I'll get on the phone with you for 60 minutes. Sometimes I can squeeze 90 in just for you so we can get you clear on what you should be doing in your situation right now. Mark is also available at markdredska.com. We're not better than each other. We're all in the trenches together, learning and improving to becoming better men. All right, we'll talk to you guys next time.